What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back again with my WWE Week in Review. I actually just recently recorded my NXT TakeOver In Your House preview and predictions. A link will be at the end of this video, and vice versa. I'll also be doing my AEW Week in Review. Hopefully get that out today, most likely tomorrow, but we'll see. As always, you can find me on my social media down here because I got the layout looking a little better and a little more aesthetically pleasing. At least I hope it does. So as always, what I do is I recap and review Raw, NXT, SmackDown, everything that happened this week on WWE television. And so we're going to start it off, as always, with Raw. Going to go to my trusty notes here. Okay, so we start out with Seth is out there with Theory and Murphy for the Ray retirement ceremony. Says he has a match with Aleister Black, and he's going to end Aleister Black. He says Ray Mysterio will be on later to speak to everyone about his career, but that he probably won't be able to muster the strength to do the retirement himself, so Seth says he'll do the honors of it. Keeps saying that Ray was chosen as a sacrifice, and he ends up playing this video package, which, to be fair, was actually a really good video package, kind of highlighting more of the recent accolades, and by recent I mean the last 10 to 15 years of Rey Mysterio, not his WCW days, but it was actually really good up until the very end when it shows Seth, just beating the crap out of him and shoving his face into the stairs. So he says he would love to and be honored to induct Ray into the Hall of Fame. Aleister Black comes out just fired up, swinging at him. Apparently, Ray is his mentor, which I did not ever hear about in NXT or his year on the main roster. The only time I really seen them together was recently with the getting thrown over the building together. I guess there's some kind of mentor-mentee relationship there. I never saw it, never heard of it, but or it could be they're just doing that for the angle. So then we get our match, Aleister Black for Seth Rollins. Aleister starts out really hot. Seth has to get out of the ring to regroup. Seth obviously starts to take control when Black tries to get in the ring. Joe on commentary is calling Seth a megalomaniac, which I thought was pretty funny. Seth hits one of his awful suicide dives. He back body drops Aleister over the top, out of the ring. Murphy and Theory start to head over to him. Then Carrillo's music hits. He comes out with a chair. Seth hits a sling blade for a 2 count. Black starts to make a comeback, hits a moonsault for a 2 count. Black then does a German suplex with the bridge for a 2 count. Seth with a super kick into a Falcon Arrow, 2 count. Seth goes for the frog splash, but Black gets his knees up. They start fighting on the apron on the outside. Black kicks Seth into the post, and then Black with a moonsault from the kind of the middle of the post to the outside. Seth hits a frog splash, but only gets a 2 count back in the ring. Seth goes for a stomp, but Black counters with an armbar. Seth is able to get out of it and powerbomb Black. We get Seth with the springboard, but catches a V-trigger from Aleister Black. Black goes for Black Mask. Theory and Murphy are on the apron. Umberto pulls both of them down, and then there's a brawl going on. Seth goes for a roll-up on Black while he's distracted, but Black counters for a 3 count pin. They jump Black and Umberto. Murphy and Theory hold Black and make him watch Seth stomp Umberto, and then Seth gets Black's face with a stomp. Gets in Black's face, and then he stomps him out. So obviously 2-on-3. Keeping this new kind of flock, I guess. I mean, it's just the addition of Theory. Kind of keeping this feud going. I like it. Obviously Seth and Ray are going to have some kind of epic match, or maybe Dominic will get involved. Obviously, I've heard people say, not as a rumor, but as a great idea would be for Dominic to actually join Seth. I think that would be amazing, but I just don't see that happening. So we get the introduction of the new show, Raw Talk, on the WWE Network. First guest will be Seth, and that's going to be Charlie Caruso. Love her, and Joe. He's the best. I just have too much wrestling already to watch it. I'm not going to watch that. We then get a recap of Apollo from last week winning. We then get a backstage interview with Angel Garza and Zelina. They recap Garza's win over Kevin Owens from last week. Zelina cuts Charlie off, but Angel Garza wants to speak. He gives a rose to Charlie. Zelina takes it and rips it up. He starts, being his creepy self. And that's pretty much it. We get word that HBK will be here to talk about Edge and Orton. We probably another video submission, as we got Ric Flair last week. But it's an actual interview this time. HBK goes over his own great matches. Saying that it's going to be the greatest match of all time or whatever. That sets a very high bar. He says maybe they can deliver, but he picks Edge. Obviously, former tag team champion partner of his. We then get a recap of Drew and Lashley from last week. We find out Drew and MVP will have a match later on tonight. Lana starts going after MVP. MVP says he has actual work to do, no time or desire to get sucked into the attention-seeking drama. Lana says he's a leech, trying to revive his own career off of Lashley. And MVP turns to her and says, even if that were true, wouldn't that make two of us? Lana slaps MVP and then walks off. I thought that was really good. We get a recap of the stuff that happened on the earlier tonight with the Rollins match. We get an in-ring interview with Apollo Crews. Says it's surreal that he's the champ, but he says he's going to choose. At first you hear that he's going to choose an opponent, so you're kind of wondering, okay, well, if he chooses some kind of squash match, that can lead him to being heel, but he actually chooses KO. And KO kind of is still selling the knee injury. Says he hopes that this isn't out of pity, but Crews says it's out of respect, so he says he feels bad that the title reign is going to be so short. So we get Kevin Owens versus Apollo Crews for the U.S. title. KO sends Apollo over the top. They fight on the outside. Apollo with the backflip off the apron, lands on his feet. KO with the running cannonball off the apron. We get KO with a swanton from the top for a 2 count. Kevin Owens looks like he kicked Apollo in the groin, and Apollo goes down. He kind of feels bad about it. Then Apollo kind of gets up, and they start striking each other. They follow the outside. We come back from break. They're striking in the ring now. Apollo with a power slam for a 2 count. Goes for an Olympic slam, but it's countered with an arm drag and a super kick for a 2 count. KO goes with a moonsault, hits that for a 2 count. Goes for the pop-up powerbomb, but it's countered with an Olympic slam for a 2 count. Apollo hits his standing moonsault for a 2 count. And then we get KO with the super kick and a swanton from the top, but Apollo gets his knees up. And then Garza and Andrade hit the ring, and they attack, and it's a DQ. They go to break, and guess what? Shocking, we get a tag team match. Andrade and Garza versus Apollo and KO. The same stupid trope we see every week now. It's ridiculous. So they double team in isolation on Apollo. Apollo gets a hot tag, but Garza tags out to Andrade. Andrade with a single leg Boston Crab on KO. KO breaks free and fights back. Goes for a cannonball and misses. Owens gets a hot tag to Apollo. Garza takes out KO on the apron. Apollo with the drop kick to Garza, who's sent into the commentary table. Andrade with a pinning attempt with his foot on the ropes for the 2 count. And then Apollo does his toss powerbomb on Andrade for the win. So here we go again. They were this group now. Now they've lost Austin Theory. They kicked him out. And all they do is lose. They just lose. Every single week, they lose. They don't win anymore. I mean, the only time they ever won was in squash matches. Any match of consequence. I mean, unless you want to count Angel Garza beating Kevin Owens. But, I mean, it was sort of clean. But, it started off with shenanigans, taking out his knee to start. Other than that, so now it looks like Angel Garza is the one that more likely has the, let me get a little closer, has the juice than Andrade. Andrade is now just... Okay, he lost his title, now what? Now what's he going to do? They're just booking them to lose. I understand to keep the stories going, but you got to give them some wins. You got to make them formidable. You got to make them scary. You got to make them a threat. And if all you do is keep making them lose, even they should get a clean win. I get heels don't always have to, heels more likely than not don't get clean wins, but you can give them a clean win. It's okay. It's all right. It's not going to, no one's going to be like, oh, well, Kevin Owens can't lose. He can take a loss. He just did. It was fine. Didn't even need shenanigans. But whatever. That's just my opinion. Interview with Asuka. Facing Charlotte tonight. Kairi Sane in action against Nia. She doesn't bow down to anyone, and then she dances off camera. Usually she's the MVP. She's great. Okay, so we get the Street Profits against the Raiders for bowling. This is their next one, bowling. So apparently the Street Profits play off like they don't know what bowling is. The Raiders are really good. Street Profits aren't. The waitress has a thing for Ivar. Shocking. They keep going with that. Dawkins spits out goat's milk because he thinks that they're about to toast, and it turns out it's goat's milk. Ford drops the ball on Dawkins' foot. Ivar pulls a turkey leg out of the ball return. Still going with the turkey leg bit. Ivar has a ball painted on his stomach, and he gets thrown down the ramp, the lane. Wow. Ivar goes to the snack bar and starts stealing food, and then he gets kicked out of the kitchen by the waitress, who says that he would kick him out, of the entire bowling alley, but he thinks that Ivar is cute. Street Profits ask for the smoke and the hustle, and then all of a sudden it goes to like kind of cosmic bowling. Eric throws Ivar down the lane for a strike. Okay, Raiders end up winning by 1 pin. So Byron says he and Joe should bowl sometime. Joe says, let's not, and say we do. Kind of abusing him. It's pretty funny. We then get Nikki Cross versus Billie Kay. Recap of the Bliss Cross and the Iconics from last week. There's backstage yelling at each other, and Adam Pearce is getting a little more to do on camera. Comes in trying to break them up. Cross is throwing Kay into each turnbuckle head first. Kay with the big boot for a 2 count. Byron says they talk too much. Joe says he's never been good at anything in his life. Talking about Byron. Kay with a rear chin lock and grinding Cross down. Cross with corner splash, then bulldog. Cross misses the crossbody from the top, and then Kay with the sit down Uranagi for the win. So it's just complete clean win. So there you go. Which obviously, knowing what happened later on SmackDown, kind of makes sense a little bit. We get a backstage interview with Drew McIntyre. He's not backing down from any challenges. Will claymore anyone who gets in his way. We then get a Ray interview from home. So working his way back, but scared of infection to his eye. He doesn't know if he should retire. It's a wait and see with his eye. He starts in on Seth, saying damn him. Dominic comes in, says someone from this family needs to do something. Ray says damn you, Seth, for what he did to his family, to his wife, his kids. He'll never forgive Seth. And then Dominic says, as Ray leaves, Dominic looks at the camera and says there's going to be an eye for an eye. So obviously we're going to get something with Dominic. I just don't know if he's going to get his first match or what. We'll see. We then get Nia Jax versus Kairi Sane, which a little tidbit I'll get to after. Oh my god, I got something on my toe. I feel like I got a splinter on my toe. Sorry. Nia cuts an in-ring promo. It says don't believe the hype of Asuka, whatever. But for some reason she comes to the ring, we get an in-ring promo, we then cut to another segment of Truth dressed as a gardener, and he wins the 24/7 title from Gronk, who's supposedly doing a TikTok dance, and Gronk's trainer apparently was the referee, and mainly because he's got to focus on football now because now he's with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I just thought it was really bad acting. Gronk, I don't know if this, I mean, maybe he would have gotten better at it, but just from the little we've seen, I don't know if he would have really pulled this off, to be honest. I just don't. So then we get Asuka watching the match backstage. Finally, after all that, finally Kairi Sane comes out and we get our match. Asuka's watching from backstage. I don't understand why this has happened now several times for both of them. It's your tag team partner. Go watch. Doesn't make sense. I wrote a note how long is the lead up to this match. Sane tries to start out hot, but can't compete with Nia's strength. Same with a sleeper on Nia and gets Nia to her knees. Sane goes to the top and Nia catches. Sane counters with a DDT for a 1 count. Sliding elbow from Sane in the corner. Nia throws Sane into the steps and throws her into the ring for a leg drop in the win. So apparently Kairi Sane was busted wide open from being thrown into the steps. It goes to this whole thing about Nia not being able to wrestle. I don't know if I just don't think she's very well polished. And I think the other thing, and this is not, just my opinion, obviously, I've heard people that are obviously well versed in wrestling that say that it could be something where she just doesn't know her own strength. She doesn't realize how strong she is compared to the other women in the division. So, she's just got to understand that, especially for someone like Kairi Sane that is, 100 and something pounds less than her. She's got to be careful. So Asuka comes out into the ring. Nia retreats. We then get an Orton promo. He's been watching a lot of the WWE Network. He says everyone thinks Flair is the greatest, and he agrees, but he says Flair picked him. So that must tell you something. Orton agrees with what Edge said about him and the fact that he was lazy and whatever, and that he still accomplished everything he did without really trying, and that it bothers Edge to no end. We then get our Charlotte vs. Asuka match. We get an in-ring promo by Charlotte, tells everyone to shut up, and she'll win a takeover. Asuka goes for the Asuka lock early. Charlotte rolls through for a pinning attempt. Charlotte calls out all her victories on Asuka as she goes on, who she's beat, when she beat them, especially against Asuka. Charlotte goes after the left knee. Asuka starts to fight back, but Charlotte once again goes for the knee. Asuka with a high kick to Charlotte's head. Asuka with the big German suplex, the Shining Wizard for a 2 count. She goes for natural selection. Asuka counters into the armbar. Charlotte attempts to break it, but Asuka turns it into a triangle. Charlotte counters into a Boston Crab, which is actually pretty impressive looking. And then Asuka counters into a knee bar. And then Charlotte turns Asuka and hits a German suplex. That whole set right there, just a bang, 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 was solid. Really good. Just shows that, how great these two competitors are. For a 2 count. Yes, and then Charlotte boots Asuka to the outside. Asuka's music hits. Nia, and then we get the shenanigans. And then Nia comes out with the mask and the face paint. And then Asuka gets counted out. And then Nia runs over Asuka on the ramp. I mean, this was a fantastic match, but obviously I guess they just wanted to protect both of them, so they had this with Nia. I just thought it was a little stupid. But we then get a backstage interview with Lana. Charlie recaps the slap from earlier. Lana looks happy. Charlie suggests it could be MVP that got Lashley to borrow from ringside. Lana agrees. She says that, that she might have been barred from Bobby Lashley's matches, but no one ever said anything about MVP's matches. She's got this kind of look on her face. We then get Drew versus MVP. So Bobby comes out first. Lana's music hits after Drew is out. Drew on the attack. Glasgow Kiss sends MVP to the outside. Lashley distracts Drew and MVP, sends him into the post and then the barricade. Drew sets up the Claymore, but Lashley pulls MVP out. Drew hits both with a Tope Con Hero, which was pretty impressive for a guy his size. He just continues to impress. We get back in the ring. Drew hits a Claymore for the win. Lashley comes in and then puts Drew in the full Nelson, and Drew is struggling, and that's actually how it goes off. We don't see what ends up happening with that. Decent Raw. There were some good matches. Obviously, this thing with Ray and Seth is not over. Interesting to see where Dominic goes with it. The whole tag team thing with Street Profits and Raiders has to stop. They just need to wrestle already. I mean, I like the fact that they built camaraderie, so it's going to make for a better match, or at least I hope it will. But at this point, it's like there's no real tag team. The tag team match that we had was a cobbled together match after a run-in, which is ridiculous. So that was your Raw recap. We're now going to go to NXT. And as I said, I did my NXT preview and predictions, which I'll link here, probably at the end of the video. And so this is the go-home show for NXT TakeOver in Your House. We start out with Candice LeRae versus Mia Yim, which was obviously talked about last week. Candice starts with the attack, but Mia attacks with using her strength. Candice with the senton for a 2 count. There's 2 more of those for another 2 count. Mia with the cannonball in the corner for a 2 count. Mia wheelbarrow throws Candice into the barricade when they're on the outside. It then turns into a double count out when they're fighting. Candice runs Mia into the Tron. Then the Tron goes out. Tegan goes to break it up. Dakota and Raquel Gonzalez come out, and then Shotzi comes out, and they're all brawling. And then Candice and Mia are still going at it while the other 4 are going at it. Then Johnny is out there, and then Keith Lee comes out there, and it all gets broken up. We get an announcement when we come back from break from Regal that this is going to be a mixed tag match. Johnny says he's not dressed and tries to leave. Keith grabs him, presses him, and then walks back to the ring. Candice jumps on his back and is trying to choke him, but he just continues walking. He throws Johnny into the ring, goes up the steps. All the while, Candice is still on him. Okay. and then kind of he just like shrugs her off. Candice eventually gets into the ring, and Mia goes on the attack. Mia hits Soul Food for a 2 count. Then Mia gets distracted, so Candice can go after her knee. Candice with the Dragon Suplex. Mia with the Dragon Suplex. Johnny breaks up the count. Keith starts attacking Johnny. Johnny Gargano uses his keys when he's in the powerbomb position to take out Keith Lee's eyes. Candice sneaks a pin on Mia while this is going on for the win. So while this is going on, and Keith is like trying to, kind of regain his sight, he has his hand, and it's kind of next to the ring steps, which made no sense why it was there, but obviously, Johnny then kicks the ring steps into the hand, and then takes the NXT tile, places it on the Takeover logo, and then walks out. So obviously they stand tall. I've given my predictions. You'll have to see by watching the video. It's a short video, so don't worry about it. We then get a video package for Ciampa versus Cross. Pretty good. Backstage interview with Dexter Lumis. So he no-sells the question and walks out of frame. He then comes back into frame with a whiteboard and some markers and starts drawing. And then the interview ends. We find out later on what it is. So from what I've heard, Dexter Lumis is a very talented caricature artist. So that's what you'll end up seeing. So we get an interview with Drake from earlier in the day. He says he's going to interview Mackenzie. He said he feels absolutely no pressure. It can be the best or worst day of his life, and he has no idea, and he doesn't care, and he loves that about it. He says he's going to have some cookies and cake because he was always worried about his diet, and he doesn't have to because who cares? We then get our prime target segment of Cole versus Dreams, basically just like a recap and a kind of preview of the match. So it's going to be the Backlog Brawl. So the UE has a special day planned for Cole. They pull up in a limo. June 1st marks the 1 year mark of Cole winning the NXT Championship. We then get a shot of Dream rollerblading around his neighborhood. He recounts all the Undisputed Era moments attacking him and costing him everything. The Undisputed Era have dinner at Fresco's, I guess some Italian restaurant. Cole toasts to the UE and his anniversary, 1 year anniversary. Dream says he can handle 4-on-1. It's a numbers game and he can do it. The ladies bring Dream a mirror, and he does this mirror on the wall gimmick. And then we have like NWO Prince, and by NWO I just mean Bizarro Prince. We then get a recap of the Cole Regal Zoom call. We then get a clip of people talking about the match, from Sam Roberts to Peter Rosenberg to Drew McIntyre to Pat McAfee. So they're all kind of giving their thoughts and who they think could win. It was very interesting. Not bad. Pretty cool. I do like Undisputed Era whenever they're doing some kind of fun thing. We then get a tag team triple threat match for the number 1 contender for Imperium. We get Birch and Lorcan versus Undisputed Era versus Mystery Team. And then we get back to Dexter Lumis. So apparently he draws him driving a car with 3 members of Undisputed Era, not named Adam Cole, tied up in the back of the car. It's pretty funny. We then get Tony Nese versus Swerve Scott. This is all started when Swerve gave the interview about the Cruiserweight Championship tournament, saying that if you don't win at least one match, you shouldn't even be wrestling. Obviously, Tony Nese took exception to that, attacked him, and almost ended up costing him his match and a possible opportunity for the Cruiserweight Championship. So Swerve is super aggressive, obviously very pissed off. Nese gets the upper hand. Swerve powers out of a body scissors into a brain buster. We get a springboard lion salt from Nese, but it misses. Swerve throws Nese into the steps on the outside. Nese goes with a throat punch. We then get Jack Gallagher coming out because he was the one who beat Swerve. Nese is about to hit a sunset driver on Swerve, but Swerve rolls him up for the win. And then Jack Gallagher comes into the ring, but Swerve escapes. So, they even try to cheat, and they still lose. I don't know how this bodes, but I mean, they're starting some kind of rivalry there. I don't mind that because, it gives these people something to do. It fills up time, and it's meaningful time. It's not just a stupid squash match. There's actually like a legit story brewing between them. So I have no problem with that. Let's see what we got here. We get a shot of Birch and Lorcan firing themselves up backstage. We get Undisputed Era warming up. We then get Birch and Lorcan, Undisputed Era, and coming all the way from the International Space Station, it's Breezango. Breezango, dressed up in astronaut gear, new music. I thought it was great. I love Breezango. What I didn't expect was the finish of this match. So each team has one man in. That I actually like this much better than they do it in WWE, where it's only two guys from however many teams, 3 or 4 teams are there, and you can tag anybody at any time. I think that's so stupid. I like the fact that it's basically a triple threat, and they have to tag their own partner, and that's it. I like how they do that much better than what WWE does. So Burch and Tyler Breeze, they team at first. They're about to come to blows, but they start attacking the Undisputed Era again. Breezango and Burch Lorcan come face to face, but the ref steps in while Undisputed Era are on the outside. Burch and Breeze attack Strong. Strong sends Burch out and takes advantage on Breeze. Strong chops Breeze, and it's just echoing as usual. Fandango gets the hot tag, starts to take out Undisputed Era. Lorcan with the hot tag, and he's taking out everybody. Double blockbuster on Undisputed Era. Fandango launches Lorcan to the outside onto everyone. Burch back body drops Fandango onto the group on the outside. Undisputed Era spot Loomis in the crowd, just ice grilling them. So they're just like, what the hell's going on here? We get the beauty shot and the top rope leg drop. Beauty shot by Breeze and a top rope leg drop by Fandango on Bobby Fish for the win. Breezango is the #1 contenders. Imperium come out to the ramp, but then Stokely Hathaway and his people, or is it Stokely Hathaway, or what was it? What's his name in there in AEW? Oh my God, what's Stokely Hathaway? Stokely Hathaway. Malcolm Bivens, that's it. So Malcolm Bivens comes out with Indy Shirai, I think it is his team's name, and then comes out, and I mean, I feel kind of bad for Burch and Lorcan, because they just had this whole kind of promo package that they were going to take out Imperium. They were starting in with Imperium. Imperium were talking about them, and now they're not even the #1 contenders. Seems a little weird. I love Breezango, so I don't mind, but I just know that they're not going to put the belts on them. Okay, so we get Jake Maverick getting ready for the match. A recap of the women's tag match from last week, and then Chelsea Green Robert Stone. We then get Aaliyah versus Santana Garrett. Aaliyah hits a neck breaker and then goes on the attack. And then Robert Stone comes out, and he's looking all kinds of disheveled. He's cheering on Aaliyah. Obviously, I guess he's trying to recoup and I guess kind of recruit for the Robert Stone brand. Now that his one and only client has fired him. So then Santana with a head scissors from the top. She does a handspring moonsault and then wins. So Aaliyah, once again, in a match that you would think, because Santana Garrett is kind of... she's a good wrestler, but she's been used pretty much as a jobber. So for her to get that win, and Aaliyah just to continue to lose, Robert Stone is just... He's even more shocked, he's pissed, he's upset, he doesn't know what to do, he's despondent, and he just walks off. We then get our second prime target segment of the night, and that's for the women's triple threat. This one was really, really cool. Started out with Io underwater, with subtitles about being alone and not needing anyone. She embraces it, and it makes her stronger, and they should all be afraid of her. It was really cool, very powerful. We then get Rhea getting up early in the morning and training. 2019 was the height of her career, but 2020 has been the exact opposite. Flair training at the Performance Center. It's been a long time since she's been on a takeover. Her first championship win against Natty put her on the map, and then we get people like Natty and Rosenberg talking about her. We get a look back at the WrestleMania build between Rhea and Charlotte, and then Beth Phoenix starts putting her over, and then Beth Phoenix actually putting over Io and picks Io, and then McAfee also predicts Io. We then get Cameron Grimes versus Bronson Reed. Reed no-sells the chops from Grimes. He presses Grimes and drops him, does a big senton. Reed with the standing Thez press. He misses a top rope splash. Grimes goes for the cave-in and for the win. And then Karrion Kross shows up out of nowhere into the ring. Grimes gets the hell out of Dodge. He's like, not for me. And Kross hits a Saito suplex on Reed. And then he cuts a promo to the camera saying that, this is going to be special, Ciampa. And... TikTok and all that stuff. We then get a 6-woman. We then find out that there's going to be another match added to TakeOver. It's a 6-woman tag. Shotzi Blackheart, Mia Yim, Tegan Nox versus Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez. I once again talk about that in my preview and predictions. We then get our final match, the finals of the Cruiserweight title, Phantasma versus Drake. They shake hands with the quick roll-up by Phantasma. He's going for the win. He's got to go for it, take every advantage. We got a lot of quick moves by both, several pinning attempts. Drake is shook a little. He doesn't think I think he can tell right there that obviously Phantasma is the more talented wrestler, so he's going to have to outthink him. Drake hits a rolling senton on the outside with a kick to the middle turnbuckle where Phantasma's face was. Phantasma with a sit-down powerbomb on the outside, which looked brutal. He rolls him back into the ring for a 2 count. Phantasma hits a surfboard and then drops him down for a pin, but Drake is by the ropes. Phantasma with the Boston Crab. Drake is now screaming, but he gets to the ropes. He pleads with him to quit. Phantasma keeps pleading with him to quit, but he won't. Hits a sit-down powerbomb on Drake for a 2 count. So Drake slaps Phantasma and then thrown into the corner, and Drake makes a comeback with strikes. There's a Casadora into a Bulldog from Drake. Top rope elbow drop, but he only gets a 2 count on Phantasma. They fight on the top rope, Phantasma to the outside. Then those masked luchadors come out. They're about to attack Phantasma, but Drake does a suicide dive, takes them out. And then as he comes back into the ring, he gets a super kick and then the Phantom Driver for the win. Which kind of leads me to believe that Phantasma has actually been behind these things. I mean, it's kind of like, it's not like it's not obvious. I mean, the fact that they can never get the best of him, but he always gets the best of them, yet they've already abducted 2 other people. So Drake is in the middle of the ring, and he's super sad. He's upset. You can tell he knows that his career is over now. The NXT crowd, they're pounding the glass, thanking him, and then he says he thanks everyone, loves everyone. He gets to the top of the ramp, and then Triple H comes out, hugs him, has the binder, the NXT binder, hands it to him, and he knows what Drake knows what this means. He signs it. It's his new contract. It was emotional. It was emotional, but at the same time, you almost knew that he was getting this. I mean, there were rumors that he was going to get re-signed, whether or not he won. It's tough because WWE fired him and then took advantage of the positive feedback he got from being genuine, sincere in a Twitter video. And then they took advantage of that. And then they manipulated it. And I don't know how. I'm happy he has. I'm happy that he got a contract and he's staying with them. He deserves it. He's great, and hopefully they end up using him and not just flushing him down the toilet or having him pee his pants again. But it's kind of those weird things. I don't know how I feel about it. What are we at here? All right, and that's your NXT. So now we go to SmackDown that happened last night. So we get Jeff Hardy backstage with some production crew. We get a recap of last week. The injury update on Elias, that he has a lot of broken bones. He's at home recovering, but he could be out several months. We don't know how real that is, if he actually had some injuries, or if they're, if those injuries, even if they're kayfabe, are they going to be as serious as they say? Who knows? So Hardy is out to the ring, gives his account of what happened, says there was a witness who saw someone with Sheamus's description running from the car. But didn't what's his name, Braun Strowman, say I saw someone run from the car? Wouldn't he have noticed someone? Who's this witness? I don't know. This whole thing is just really stupid, and I just get very nervous when I see these things, because it's like, if you watch Dark Side of the Ring, the one with the Road Warriors, how doing this angle with Road Warrior Hawk ended up causing his relapse. And, so that's why I hope Hardy is in a better place than Hawk was, and I hope that his family is there, and I hope that he doesn't fall back. Because it wasn't like he's been sober for so long. It's 8 months, I think, was his last DUI. So it's not like it's, he's been doing this for years, and so that there's no way that he could slip up again. So, Sheamus comes out with so he has a heartfelt plea that Sheamus will not take everything away from him. Sheamus comes out, says Hardy is blaming everyone else for his problems, calls the fans enablers, calls him a junkie, and his family is used to it, used to all his slip-ups, and then Hardy goes right out after him, and eventually gets a bro kick, and then gets thrown into the barricade, the plexiglass barricades. We then get Otis and Mandy arriving. They see Corbin's throne and the crown on the throne. He puts on the crown, Otis, and walks away. Corbin, doing his greatest acting, says, "Where's my crown?" And then it's gone. And then he yells at a production assistant because the production assistant said that Otis took it, and he's like, "Why didn't you stop him?" So then we get Otis versus Corbin. So we get a recap of Mandy's dream from last week, which was fucking incredible, hilarious. Corey calls Otis King Mayonnaise the 8th. I thought that was hysterical. Corbin is irate getting to the ring. He posts Otis early. Otis clothesline Corbin out of the ring twice. They fight on the outside. Otis is sent into the post. Corbin gets a big spine buster back in the ring. Apparently some of these spots actually had to be redone. So I think apparently Otis took about 4 of these spots now that they're not doing live. So they're doing tape shows. Which is really impressive. It's actually a pretty good match. Corbin kicks Otis in the gut repeatedly, but that just hulks him up. Otis sets up for the Caterpillar, but Corbin rolls out of the ring. Corbin then Otis goes after him. Corbin uses a chair, gets DQ'd. Back in the ring, Otis fights back and then hits the Caterpillar. Mandy gives him the briefcase, and they celebrate. We get a shot of a white van. I don't know. This is like 50-50 for me. This whole thing. Miz and Morrison are in the surveillance van with surveillance gear. So Braun shows up. They're like, "Sweet car, bro," abusing him. They make fun of people who say they're gonna get killed on at Backlash. All the naysayers and all that kind of stuff. What they're about to do is childish, etc., but it's also strategic. Morrison's greatest line, a famous person once said, "This is how we do it. It's Friday night." So I actually put that on Instagram because it was hysterical. So basically they just start pranking Braun and just making his life miserable while he's there. The first prank is that when he's going to do his protein shake, he puts the water in and somehow it explodes. I don't know how they set that up, but Braun is obviously pissed. We then get a backstage interview with Shorty G, Chad Gable, not Shorty G. Kayla asks him about his win against Cesaro last week, and then Mojo comes into frame. Welcome back, Mojo. The more important thing to talk about is how his boy Gronk got the 24/7 title robbed from him. He does some bad, really corny short jokes for Gable. Cesaro and Shinsuke show up. They start jumping Gable, and then Mojo jumps in on it, and then the New Day come in, scare the 3 of them off. We then get Sonya Deville versus Lacey Evans. Really good match here. Sonya jumps Lacey when she's coming to the ring, shoves her head into the stairs. Big back elbow by Sonya, looked like a really connected flush on Lacey Evans. She was selling it pretty well. Lacey with the slingshot elbow from the outside into the ring for a 2 count. Sonya starts talking trash. She goes for a schoolboy roll up and ends up rolling into the ref, who goes down, selling a knee injury, and then they go to commercial break. They switch out the refs. I don't know because this really didn't play much into the match, so I'm not sure what the point of it was. He tells them to get back, and ask for help. So Sonya pulls Lacey onto the apron, slams her into the ground, kind of like a neck breaker. Cole sold it really well, but it looked vicious. Sonya stands on Lacey's face while on the stairs, which also looked pretty rough. Lacey with a huge clothesline, and they're both on the mat. Lacey with the single Bronco Buster, where she kind of uses the ropes, kind of does like a handstand and then gets the momentum. She goes for her BME, best moonsault ever, gets a 2 count there. Sonya starts to mount some offense when Mandy shows up on the Tron, says that Sonya promised to make Mandy hurt, but it hurts Sonya more to know that she isn't a fighter, she's a failure. Then with that distraction, Lacey Evans is able to hit the women's right for the win. Not sure where they're going with this. I guess obviously they're keeping this feud. I didn't think it was over. I'm not sure what they're doing with it. And now obviously because Lacey is involved in this feud as well. So kind of now is Sonya going to get some kind of partner? Are they going to have a tag? I don't know. We could then get another Matt Riddle video package. Backstage interview with Braun Strowman with Kayla. Braun knows they tried to mess with his shake. We get a shot of Miz and Morrison in the van. They press a button, and slime comes down. Unfortunately, it's Kayla. They argue the difference between left and stage left because they say, "Oh, Miz was like, you're supposed to put it on the left." He's like, "Yeah, you said stage left," and it's pretty funny when they argue like that. Braun apologizes, says he knows it's them. Kayla says they're bastards and walks off. But they still call it a success. So we get AJ and Bryan in ring interview with Renee Young. AJ wants to start it off, says Bryan will call him a coward, but Bryan is the fool. Bryan says he is a coward and shows all the traits of a coward. AJ says it was a smart move. Bryan says they have two different worldviews, I guess, on more than just wrestling. Bryan talks about his vision for the IC title, defending it every week, making it basically the workhorse title, which it's always been perceived to be. AJ says he won't give out handouts. AJ goes after Drew Gulak, talking crap on him. Says he'll give Gulak the opportunity right now. He'll hand out an ass whooping. So Gulak goes right after AJ, runs to the ring. So then we get our Drew Gulak AJ Styles match. AJ goes for a drop kick. Drew holds the ropes and goes for a crossface, but AJ gets to the ropes. AJ with the snapmare and the PK to the back. AJ does a clothesline backbreaker combo for a 2 count. Gulak starts to take advantage, hits a Michinoku driver for a 2 count. Gulak puts him...
I'm not sure. By the way, I can learn your voice to improve your Alexa experience.
I don't know. I don't think I said Alexa right there. Alexa, stop. Bitch. That's the first time Alexa really... Ooh. That's the first time you-know-who chimed in here. Interesting. AJ with a reverse DDT, then Gulak with a matchbook cover pinning combo as AJ attempted the Styles Clash for the win. So now Drew Gulak got the win over AJ. Huge win. And well-deserved. I'm happy because, obviously, he was gone for a week and then he was back. Hopefully this shows that they do care about Gulak and they're going to push him. We then get another shot of Miz and Morrison in the parking lot. They go to Braun's, prize Buick. Miz puts a golf club through the windshield. Morrison says Braun's dad is in this softball Hall of Fame. Morrison uses the bat to destroy what was left of the windshield, and then they go back to the van. We then get a 6-man tag. We get New Day and Gable versus Cesaro, Shinsuke, and Mojo Rawley. Shorty G comes out to New Day's music, which is pretty cool. New Day and Gable throw their jackets all at Corey. It's just pretty funny. It seems to be the new trend. The other side, they all come out to Shinsuke's music. Gable tries same pinning combo on Cesaro again from last week and doesn't get it. Gable with the dragon screw leg whip. Mojo with a big cross body on Biggie for a 2 count. Biggie with the belly to belly on Shinsuke. Quick tag. The faces are going for quick tags. Kofi with a tope con hero on Cesaro, but it looks like it might have hurt his knee. Mojo with a shoulder tackle on the outside while the ref is distracted on Kofi. Kofi ends up hitting a cave-in on Mojo back in the ring. Kofi with a hot tag to Gable, and he cleans house. Gable with a rolling kick, then the blockbuster, then moonsault on Mojo. Only gets a 2 count out of all that. Gable then hits an ankle lock with a grapevine and grapevines the leg. Shinsuke hits a shining wizard on him to break it up. Cesaro with the uppercut to Shorty G. Gable while the ref is turned. Mojo with the hyperdrive pancake for a 2 count. New Day hit the midnight hour on Mojo with Gable holding on to Shinsuke and Cesaro, and they're able to get the win. We then get Braun comes out, sees his car, and goes absolutely ballistic. Miz and Morrison say he doesn't know where they are, but also they can't find the keys to the van. Braun then asks the production assistant where they are. Eminem don't think that the guy's going to sell them out, but he does, and they flip out. The doors are locked, so Braun tells them that they're dead. He can see, there's apparently a camera on the van, so he's looking right into it. And then he does his typical Braun thing. He flips the van, and you could tell that Miz and Morrison are hurt, and then Braun walks off. We get Hardy versus Sheamus set for Backlash. We then get the women's tag team title match, our main event. So we get Bliss and Cross versus Bayley and Sasha. Cross is aggressive on Bayley. Cross tags in Alexa. She's lit up. She goes off. There you go. Bayley able to take advantage. Cross with the crossbody on Bayley on the outside. Sasha hits a Meteora on the outside. Bliss with the back handspring knees combo. She goes for Twisted Bliss, but Sasha distracts her. Bayley with the belly to belly from the second rope. Bayley tags Sasha to get the 2 count. Cross with the tornado DDT on Bayley on the outside. Bliss with the code red on Sasha, which is pretty cool for a 2 count. Sasha goes for a backstabber, bank statement combo on Cross. Bayley slaps her to tag herself in, shoves Sasha out of the way, and says to do it, and does her own bank statement, but Cross fights out of it. This is where you start to see Sasha getting a little pissed off. Sasha then drags Bayley when she gets hit to the corner and tags herself in. Sasha gets the bank statement on Cross. Bliss is held from breaking it up. Cross rolls through, but Sasha then gets her into the crucifix pin for the win. So now we get Bayley and Sasha are now the new women's tag team champions, and they're going crazy, running around celebrating, getting in the face of the commentators. They're on there just screaming. And so now we got Bayley 2 belts. She is now both the SmackDown Women's Champion and the Women's Tag Team champion. And with Cross and Bliss looking in complete shock. I liked it. I thought this was really good. I do think some good setup for Backlash. Although it looks like the IC title match is going to be next week and not on Backlash, which I find very interesting. Unless they decide to maybe do a rematch at Backlash right after. We'll see. So there you have it. That's my SmackDown review. What are we at right now? Not bad. So I'm going to give my match of the week. Hopefully my thing isn't going to die. Oh no. Okay, welcome back. Sorry about that. My battery died and I just got a new AC adapter and I didn't plug it in. I was using the battery that was there and I didn't realize that I should have recharged it from when I recorded my earlier video. But now I'm not going to have any issues with this. So I am back. So where was I? I was at my match of the week. And my match of the week is the women's tag team title match. I thought that was a fantastic match. The right result. I thought they are setting up really well the rift now between Bayley and Sasha, more so than ever. I do think that this is going to be a very... I hope they string this out. I hope they don't, just make it so quick, that the turn between the two. Have this go for a couple months, at least have them with the tag belts for a while, a couple of defenses. Obviously the Iconics are still there, Bliss and Cross, maybe even Kabuki Warriors. We can get Asuka 2 belts even. So we'll see. So there you have it. As always, you can find me on my social media there. And check out my NXT TakeOver preview and predictions. I'm also going to be doing my AEW weekend review probably tomorrow, and then on Monday I'll have my recap and reaction to NXT TakeOver in your house. And so, as always, stay safe, love one another, all that other stuff. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that other good stuff. And bye now. Yeah, I got nothing.